We all know the story of Princess and the Frog. We have Prince Naveen coming over to New Orleans to find himself a bride. In doing so, he meets up with the evil Dr. Facilier, who, performing some voodoo, turns him into a frog and his friend Lawrence into him. His intent is to have Lawrence, disguised as Prince Naveen, marry into the LeBeau family. However, before this can happen, Prince Naveen manages to escape and enter into the Mardi Gras celebration at the LeBeau estate. While he's there, he manages to meet with Tiana, who is wearing a nice ball gown and a princess's tiara. Mistaking her for a princess, he manages to get her to kiss him and turns Tiana into a frog. The rest of the movie is him and Tiana trying to find a way to undo this curse that's been done by Facilier. After meeting with Mama Odie, Naveen and Tiana find out that if Naveen kisses Charlotte LeBeau, who is currently the Princess of Mardi Gras, then both of them will be turned back into their human forms. However, unfortunately for them, the kiss happens too late as Naveen hesitates right before midnight. And after several kisses from Charlotte, there is no transformation. There is no undoing of this curse. And yet, Charlotte herself doesn't turn into a frog. This seems like a major oversight for the movie. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Josh Quinn, and on this channel, I go over different Disney theories that have always bothered me. If you also enjoy Disney movies, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. So as we've already discussed, in Princess and the Frog, when an individual who is not a princess kisses a prince who has been turned into a frog, they themselves also turn into a frog. We also know that Naveen explained to Tiana that this was because she wasn't a princess, but when Charlotte LeBeau kisses Naveen, she doesn't turn into a frog. Why is that? By all accounts, she's no longer a princess. He is still cursed. She should be turning into a frog. My first theory on this was a very simple, very bland theory that was just the movie was ending and they didn't want to add complexity to the plot by turning another girl into a frog. I mean, we've gone through an entire movie of Tiana saving up for her restaurant, placing a bid on the restaurant, and then being denied on that bid. Full video here in the iCard. And then Tiana finds Naveen as a frog, kisses him, turns into a frog, travels to the bayou, makes friends with Ray the crocodile, goes find Mama Odie, who tells her to go have Naveen kiss Charlotte. That happens, and then if Charlotte was to turn into a frog, they'd have to go find Mama Odie again by traveling through the bayou, getting found by hunters, and it sounds like they're just going to repeat the entire movie over again. It doesn't seem like that would be a very productive way to spin the plot, is having Charlotte turn into a frog. Like, it makes sense that it should have happened, but I'm not entirely sure that it would have made for a very compelling movie if they had. So that was my first theory. It was like, okay, it's just for movie reasons. I think instead of the fact that the plot needed to be, quickened and hastened, and they didn't want to add in the extra wrinkle of having Charlotte turn into a frog, it was actually a much more thematic reasoning for it. If you look at what's happening prior to that in the movie, prior to the kiss in the movie, Facilier had the charm that was turning Lawrence into Prince Naveen. The charm eventually gets smashed by Princess Tiana. And while the smashing of the charm doesn't seem to lift the voodoo curse, it does tick off all of Dr. Facilier's friends on the other side. And so they decide to come and collect his soul as recompense for breaking their deal. And they go and they collect him. And my theory is that this causes all of Dr. Facilier's existing curses to end. Not break. It doesn't break the curse. It doesn't stop Tiana and Naveen from being cursed. But the curses no longer have a magical effect that perpetuates beyond that point. Anything that's happened prior to that, the guy that turns hairy when he wishes for a full head of hair, obviously Prince Naveen and Tiana being frogs, all of these things are still in effect, but there is no continued effect beyond that. The magic doesn't continue to perpetuate beyond the collection on this debt by Dr. Facilier's friends. So when Charlotte LeBeau decides to kiss Prince Naveen, if they had kissed prior to midnight, the curse would have broken because the curse still stands on Prince Naveen and on not Princess Tiana, but on Tiana at that time. And so the curse would have broken and would have turned them both back into human. But because the kiss happened after Charlotte was no longer a princess, the kiss doesn't have the effect of breaking the curse, but because the curse is no longer in perpetuity or in effect, Charlotte no longer has the risk of becoming a frog. So I think that this very neatly wraps up the plot hole. Why doesn't Charlotte become a frog? By all accounts, they should, but if the magic is no longer affecting others beyond who it's already affected, that makes sense on why she doesn't become a frog. But what do you all think? Why was Charlotte spared the mucus-covered life of being a frog? Please make sure to leave your comment down in the comment section below. I read and respond to every comment that comes in on my channel. If you enjoyed this video on Princess and the Frog, be sure to click here for my video on how much Tiana likely spent on her restaurant. It was quite a shocking number. I'll see you all there. Take care.